Hi, aloha, everybody. Welcome to Tales from the Mer World Radio, where we explore the ancient lands of Atlantis and Lemuria, and of course, the Mer People. If you are brand new to me, my name is Ameera Beth Mer Healer. Welcome to the show. I host this podcast twice a month on the second and fourth Thursdays of the month at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is exactly what it is right now. And I just want to thank you all for joining me once again to participate in a little experiment that I am doing, hosting my own radio show and trying to just bring forward the messages from these ancient lands, the ancient mysteries, the knowledge, the wisdom, and even talk about some concepts that are kind of a little bit out there, like the possibility that mer beings really do exist. And, the possibility that theology, ancient history, mythology, that the layers that they all weave together and produce some kind of truth or reality in our, not only in our consciousness, but in our subconsciousness and really out on the planet. So today I'm going to do something a little bit different, a little special. This show is entitled Ask Ameera. So if you have ever wanted to just call me up, ask me a question, chat with me about anything that's on your mind, have any kind of a questions during this show, you're going to get that opportunity. So I'm going to speak to you for a few minutes, and then we're going to go into a commercial break. And when we come back from the commercial break, then that's when I'll take your questions. And even if you don't have a question, even if you just want to chat a topic, even if you want just to share your insights and your experiences, maybe you've had a past life regression, or maybe you've had some conscious memories of Atlantis or Lemuria, or even doing something, off planet and getting ready for the creation of Earth or your Earth body. I really just invite you to call in and share with me anything that's on your mind. Many of you who are out there are really interested in these topics and have been following or researching Lemuria, Atlantis for a very, very long time. And I think you've probably got some knowledge and some wisdom and some really cool stuff that you can share with our audience and with me. And, I'm always willing to learn from everybody who's out there. So again, after we come back from our break, be an opportunity for you to reach out to me and just let me know what's on your mind. And I'm going to give you the call-in number real quick, 1-800-930-2819. That's the number that you will contact. And I'll give you that number again after the break. But, in the meantime, just be thinking about what you'd like to ask Ameera. I have a lot of people who, in general, in my life in general, friends and clients who just reach out to me and they just kind of ask me a random question about, like, what does this angel do? Or what does this mean? Or what is this, mythological story all about? I kind of get that anyway, where people just want to reach out to me and kind of, for some reason, people believe that I have answers to some of these esoteric things that go on in the world. And a lot of times I do. And so I've always joked with a couple of friends that I should start like a whole show around Ask Ameera. And so I did it. And so that's kind of how this was birthed. It's an opportunity for you, for you and I to connect really personally, and for me to share a little bit more with you about some of the things I'm passionate about, some of the things I know, and of course, again, for you to call in and do the same. And right now, the world is going through, as we all know, really tremendous transformation. And I've been thinking really deeply into the intention of this show, and the calling that I have from Spirit to bring forth the messages that are within my soul and within my soul memory, and in connection to the Mer People and Yemaya, and what the Mer beings really want us all to know. And I was reminded today that everybody on the planet, all of us, we have a little bit different mission and purpose out in the world right now. So, some of us are here to stand up and talk in front of audiences and really go public with our messages. Some of us are here to maybe simply write and share thoughts. Some of us are just here to simply be love. We're all here to be love. We're all here to be that ripple effect. Some of us are simply here just to silently and with a lot of love and aloha, be that ripple effect and be that kindness and that compassion and that understanding on the planet. Some of us are here to be activists. Some of us are here to be observers. So wherever you feel that your place or your calling is within this paradigm of change, I would like to really encourage you to embrace that. And instead of maybe comparing yourself to someone else or someone else's journey or someone else's mission, just really realize that your divine channel with the Creator and the calling in your heart is really uniquely your own, and encourage you to follow that whenever possible, and not to feel guilty, not to feel any kind of a way over thinking you should show up differently than you are. If your heart just really says, this is my role right now. Not all of us are meant to stand up and make big announcements or make big proclamations or statements. Some of us are here to simply be conduits and be graceful holders of the light, and being in a state of grace right now and being in a state of neutrality, which will always equal our sovereignty. And even as we go through our thoughts and our feelings over how things are happening and how their things are folding, and maybe how, the injustices in the world or whatever is going on, the neutrality of realizing that we get to decide, we get to embody a vibration, the vibration and the frequency that we want to bring forward for ourselves. An example in the world is one of the most important things that we can do. Your ability to be sovereign and not allow your frequency, not allow your path, your purpose, all of it, your emotions to get swayed by outside forces is going to be, it's really going to be what pulls you through or into the new earth paradigm that we are advancing towards. Okay, your ability to be the observer and not the absorber, and you can do that by still speaking your truth. You can do that by still taking a stand for something that is calling to your soul or something that you want to speak out to the world. It means that we're making a decision on where we stand and how we feel, and at the same time not allowing the polarization or allowing the opposite to put us into a state of contrast or into a state of negativity that take us from our sovereignty and our true connection with the divine and with spirit. So we're going to take a break here in a minute or so. I'll let you mull that over a little bit. And then after we come back from the break, going to be your opportunity to give me a call, to ask Ameera, to ask me anything about, let's talk about Atlantis. Let's talk about the final days. Let's talk about the lives in Atlantis. Let's talk about rebirthing the Atlantis and Lemarian paradigm, rebirthing that consciousness and helping the new earth to form through co-creating what feels good to us, through co-creating the life, the heaven on earth that we really know that we are here to participate and connect to and co-create together. So I'm going to let Olivia take us off to our first commercial break, and I will see you all back when we return. Aloha, everybody. Welcome back to Tales from the Mer World Radio. I am your hostess, Ameera Beth, and this is a program where we explore the ancient lands of Atlantis and Lemuria. Today, we have a very special program. At least I think it's special. This is your opportunity to ask Ameera. I'm going to give you the call-in number. In a couple of minutes, I'm going to start taking my first phone calls. 1-800-930-2819 is the number to get a hold of me. If you would like a little bit more information on who I am, what I do as a healer and a teacher kind of out in the world, you can visit me on Facebook under Ameera Beth Mer Healer. I have a public and I have a private page. You're welcome to friend me on both. My website is ameerabeth.com, and that's where you can go a little bit deeper if you're interested in doing some kind of session with me. I'm past life regression certified healer, 13 chakras and auras, and I also steward a crystal infused sacred geometry clothing company called Wisdom Wear. Sacred geometry it's a big passion of mine. And if any of you would like to call in today and we can talk about sacred geometry, that's always something that is really fun for me. Like to talk about Archangel Metatron and, all things that comprise the shapes and patterns of the universe. We're going to segue into our very first call. Who's up?
And we've got Dawn. Dawn, you're live on Ameera Beth's show.
Hi, Dawn.
Hi, sweetie.
How are you doing? Welcome to Tales from the Mer World Radio.
Oh, I'm doing great. Thank you.
Awesome. What's on your mind today?
So I just was wondering if there are certain clues or characteristics of people or relationships in our current lives that would indicate that we have unresolved issues with them.
Well,
from that Atlantean time period.
Oh, from the Atlantean time period. Okay. Well, to discern whether or not it's an Atlantean time period can be a little bit trickier. Typically, we know if we have unresolved issues with somebody because most of the people that we know in our current life we're karmically connected to, right? We come back around and we revisit karma and attempt to heal karma, balance karma, whatever, with most of the people who interact through our life. So I think that, because I believe that all of us on this spiral have been in Atlantis. I mean, if you're alive on the planet right now, you were in Atlantis because you came back during this time period to help rewrite the spiral and to help raise Atlantis. So chances are if you've got somebody that you're in conflict with or revisiting some kind of situations with, most likely there's an Atlantean connection in there somewhere. And one of the ways that, you might be able to tell that is if you just kind of went into your own meditation or went into your own asking to be shown. So many of us right now are really waking up to our own innate psychic and telepathic abilities and so tuned into our hearts and our souls that you can initially get an answer from your own soul if this is an Atlantean lifetime. And another thing that you can do is, because I do past life regression therapy, you can come to me for a session and we can go into that lifetime, and I've cleared and healed lots and lots of people who are revisiting people and situations from Atlantis and Lemuria. So does that kind of answer your question?
It does. I'll have to book one of those appointments.
Yeah, thank you. And, and just even the realization, and you're asking about this because you're probably a pretty intuitive person. You probably already know the answer, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. And so do you want to talk a little bit since you want to visit a little bit about a scenario, or what do you think?
No, it was just kind of a general question.
Well, it's a really good one, and I thank you for calling in and asking.
Sure. Hey, I also wanted to ask about Lord Metatron. What is the best things to call him in for his assistance?
So right now, if I was to work with Metatron, Archangel Metatron, one of the things he is kind of lesser known for doing, or energy he's lesser known for holding, is he is the protector of children. So a really wonderful way to access and utilize his energy out in the world, because we're talking about the health and the healing and the rescuing of children all over the world. And, even our own child within, you can call on him and help him and pray for him in this quest, this worldwide quest that's going on right now to free children and to keep children safe. Archangel Metatron is good for many, many other things. If you wanted to ask him to bring his geometry down into his field or work with his essence in your energy field, Metatron's cube will protect you from negativity, even negativity coming from yourself. So other ways you can use it is just even to stare at Metatron's cube. If you just print out a black and white copy and put it up against the wall and just meditate on it, it'll access the balance the right and left hemispheres of your brain, and just allow you to bring in his very grandfatherly presence and essence to just bring more grace and peace and protectiveness into your life.
Great. Interesting. Interesting that I asked that question.
Yeah, well, I mean, we always know, right? And I feel like you just kind of asked that question sort of out of the blue, like you didn't really pre-plan to ask me that.
No, not at all. So here's a question.
So our soul always knows, and congratulations for listening to your own intuition.
Oh, thank you. I wanted to ask about the wisdom wear shirts because I know some of them have Metatron's cube on them. So what if someone used that as a pillowcase?
Oh, okay. So that's a great question. I have done pillowcases in the past, and my plan is actually to crystal infuse pillowcases again this year because I think everybody should be sleeping on sacred geometry. Like to have your head on Metatron's cube or the flower of life, and just to have those energetics, with the Endara crystals in them going into our atmosphere or into our aura as we sleep is a great idea. So thank you for reminding me that that's one of the things that's going to be coming online later this year. Doesn't that sound great to sleep on sacred geometry?
It does, yes. But I was thinking it would be helpful of balancing the hemispheres of the brain.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually good for everything. You can set an intention, as many of us do before we go to bed, with the geometry or with an archangel, with whatever being that you want to, and just do your own kind of little nightly ritual and sleep on a sacred geometry grid. That's just a fantastic way to go deeper into a dream state, receive intuitive messages, and even maybe do a little clearing on yourself as you sleep. Great question.
Thank you, Ameera. Have fun on your show
I appreciate
today.
you calling in, Dawn.
No, it's my pleasure. You know I love you.
Oh, I love you too, girl. Aloha.
Thanks. Aloha.
And who do we have next?
And we've got Sarah from North Carolina. Sarah, you're on with Ameera Beth.
Aloha,
Hey.
Sarah. How are you, dear?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing really, really good today. What is on your mind?
Okay, so, I was going to ask you about the Lemarian Crystals and the Andaras. So, with the Lemarian Crystals, if I'm right, I think it's like what am I trying to say? How do you tell the difference with the crystals? Isn't it the barcodes on them or like the lines that make them Lemarian?
Yeah, exactly. And gosh, I have a Lemarian crystal, but it's all across the room. I'm just going to get up really quick and I'm going to go grab it. Hang on, okay?
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so Lemarian crystals are it's very, very easy to tell what a Lemarian crystal is because you're right. They have those striations that are horizontal going across them. And I don't know what you can tell from this image, but this is a Lemarian twin. It's a Lemarian twin starseed. And if you look very carefully into the crystal, you can see those. They typically are frosted. Lemarians are typically not crystal clear. They're frosted. And then they have these striations that go in across them that are their identifying mark as a Lemarian. So do you have Lemarian crystals, Sarah?
I have yes, I have a couple of them. I do. I was just curious because I have them, and I know that they have clearly a strong, connection to Lemuria. However, I've not honestly ever connected with them, in that respect. I feel the energy from it and kind of work with the crystal more that way. I haven't connected to the origin of where it's from, so kind of curious about that.
Okay. Well, and just the fact that you're asking about Lemarian crystals tells me that maybe, your guides or your unconscious want you to go a little bit deeper into Lemarian crystal energy. I feel them for the most part as very feminine. I don't even know. Some people say crystals have a gender. I don't know about that, but I know they definitely have an energetic. And when I work with my Lemurians, because, Lemuria was the motherland, was the feminine, I definitely feel like a softer, gentler vibration from them than I do from the Atlantean crystals that I work with. So I think the best way to tap into them is just to, hold it up against your heart and just ask your Lemurian or sleep with it under your pillow is a really great idea. Ask your Lemurian to speak to you. Ask your Lemurian to teach you what it's all about and what you need to know.
Perfect. Okay.
Anything else for you today?
Well, I was going to ask you also the Andaras. I love them. And, of course, I have a couple shirts, too. The Wisdom Wear shirts are amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. So the Andaras, how were they linked with that other time, I guess?
Linked with Lemuria?
Basically, yes.
Okay. So, Olivia, we're going to go over our time just a couple of minutes, which is not a big deal at all because this is a really great question. So I have my own philosophy or my own teaching from the Andaras. And when I first discovered the Andaras, I saw them in a past life regression many years ago, like maybe 12 or 14 years ago when I first went through my own past life regression training. And you're going to get a long story here, Sarah, so bear with me, but I'll eventually answer your question.
Please do share.
When I went into my first regressions and I was learning about my Mer history and I was learning about regressions or learning about Atlantis, I would see myself under the temple of Poseidon in these beautiful healing caverns. And the healing caverns were more down in the earth. And there would be waterways and canals flowing through them. And then there would be these walkways that would go to the different little enclaves and caverns where the healers would be working with the people. And the whole underground temple healing chambers were lit, and I saw these in my regressions, by these beautiful, brightly colored, crystalline something. I couldn't even describe them as crystals because of the way they glowed from the inside out. But it was something with a light that came from itself that looked like a crystal. And multiple colors, and in colors that we don't have, colors we don't have in the rainbow or like kind of currently on Earth. They were very, very otherworldly. And they are beautiful and they are brilliant. And the vibration coming from them was just extraordinary. And the healers would have them above the people that they were working on, like working on the 13 chakra points. They would be, back behind them, illuminating the space. And when I saw these, I didn't know what they were because I hadn't met the Andaras yet. I had no idea what it was other than these beautiful formations where the illumination was coming from within them and projecting out with this very beautiful high color frequency, because the Atlanteans worked with color, very deeply with color, when it came to healing the body's energy, the aura, and the chakras. I just saw how beautiful they were, and I really resonated with them. So it wasn't until years later when I came to Kauai, and my very dear friend, Jeannie Russell, who works at Dolphin Touch Wellness Center here on the island, showed me an Andara. And she had all these Andaras and all these amazing colors. And I remembered, I realized that's what I had seen years ago in my visions. I just didn't know what they were called. So I met the Andaras. And as I began to work with them and feel into them and use them in my own healing, and then eventually put them into my clothing, they told me that they were gifts from the Lemurians to the Atlanteans.
Oh.
So remember, Lemuria existed, the land of Mu existed before the experiment of Atlantis. And when the Atlanteans came down to the planet and formed their communities, the Lemurians were very connected to the earth, were very connected to the elements, were very connected to all things cyclical about the earth, gave them to the Atlanteans to help them remember their connection to source. The Lemurians were always fifth dimensional and above beings embodied. The Lemurian civilization didn't have the fall in consciousness quite the way the Atlanteans did. And the Lemurians knew the Atlanteans were here on a big experiment to see if they could hang on to that. So they gifted the Andaras to the Atlanteans to help them with that process. So how's that for an answer?
Dude, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
and I know you've got a few Andaras as well, and they're very special friends.
They are beautiful. They're amazing, and they are so aligning. They bring clarity. I've also found that if you aren't in the right state of mind, like they won't really speak to you almost.
Right.
It's kind of like they read the energy to make sure that you're okay to receive it.
They do, and the cool thing about Andaras is they meet you where you're at.
Right. Yes, exactly.
So when the world first started receiving Andaras, because as a collective, maybe our energy wasn't quite as, in the frequency that it's coming into, the Andaras used to really jack people. Like they used to kind of just send them into this like, woo, spin. But, as we as a collective and as individually have been doing our work and raising our frequencies, now the Andara, the integration time between the Andara, it's simultaneous. And we seem to know, like you probably know as you tune to an Andara, like where, which one is just going to come right in and like greet you with like open arms with all this love and take you higher without a lot of like integration.
Right.
And of like trying to like recalibrate yourself, like, like some crystals or like Andaras used to do.
Right. They're beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate you.
Yes. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Aloha.
Okay. Aloha, darling.
So on that note, we're going to take our station identification break, and I'll see you back in just a few minutes. Again, I'm going to give you the number to give me a call, 1-800-930-2819. I'll see you back in just a few minutes on Tales from the Mer World Radio. Aloha, friends. Welcome back to Tales from the Mer World Radio. I am your hostess, Ameera Beth Mer Healer, and this is a program where we explore the ancient lands of Atlantis and Lemuria. And if you're just tuning in, this is your opportunity to call me on the show, to ask Ameera anything you like about anything that might be on your minds, any questions, any experiences that you might have around Atlantis, Lemuria, the Mer People, sacred geometry, all the things that this show is about. Your number to call me is 1-800-930-2819. And there's nobody in the queue right now, so I could really, really use a phone call. Otherwise, it's going to become story time with Ameera while we fill up the last 20 minutes or so of this program, which is this just fine. One of the things I really enjoy doing, this program has given me a format or a platform to speak about all the things that, my higher self and my agreement with source energy. It's given me a format to be able to share that information out with you. And a little while ago, somebody called in and they wanted to know a little bit more about Archangel Metatron and what he was all about and how to access his energy. And, Archangel Metatron has been my primary teacher and guide for many years now. When Archangel Metatron came to me about 6.5 years ago, I was planning my first retreat on the island of Kauai. And he came forward into my field as this really active, very powerful male, grandfatherly male loving presence. And he really helped to give me the motivation and the ideas and just the encouragement to do something really big in life, which was to begin bringing groups of people from the mainland, from Portland, Oregon, where I lived, over to the beautiful island of Kauai. And when I first felt his presence and started working with his geometry, and some of you out there who really enjoy working with Archangel Metatron and are very close to sacred geometry and really enjoy learning about sacred geometry, when I first felt him coming forward, and you might find this to be true too, if you want to access and call him into your field it's very good for action. He's very good for motivation. And then of course, sacred geometry is just, the shapes and patterns that create the world around us and aligning us with the blueprint of the universe, beginning to work with the creator of sacred geometry, who is Metatron. It will really bring a lot of motivation into your life, just really become like a catalyst for you to become a better creator out in the world. And, I'm not sure how many of you know this, but Metatron was really the architect of the kingdom of Atlantis. He was the one who was ordained or requested by Prime Creator to plan the community, to literally be the architect with his team, with his high council, and with the other archangels to create the kingdom of Atlantis through sacred geometry, so that the beings who came to the Atlantean civilization would be able to work within these shapes and patterns and, plan their food and plan their communities and plan their homes in the very highest vibrations possible. So, as we witness our world going through transitions where, maybe things like permaculture and gardens and communities and all these things are going to become more prevalent. And as they're going to become more important out in our world, I think we're going to see a resurgence of communities and people who are awakened, creating through templates of sacred geometry. And if you're somebody out there who likes to plant a garden, or is currently working on community gardens, or planning some kind of space to sort of usher in the new earth and usher in the new earth food, which will be more based on probably less animal based and more high superfood based, maybe think about creating your gardens and your planting and your food through arrangements of sacred geometry, of the seed of life and of the flower of life, and just calling in that ancient practice of creating high vibrational food through geometric shapes and patterns. I feel that that's going to become a big wave of the future as we kind of go back into the ancient ways that are even not even Atlantean or Lemurian based, but even Egyptian based, and all these ancient cultures. The ancient civilizations of Avalon, some of the ancient pagan cultures. All of them used these different practices and these different rites of passage to bring to the life force of their food substances and the life force that were included in, ritual, and really honoring food as something that was not just something that helped us live, helped the people sustain, but actually helped to bring up their energy and create a closer relationship with the earth, with the elementals, with all the animals, with everything that was earth related, but then also help them to cultivate a deeper connection with the divine. We are going to take one more quick break, and then I'm going to come out and close out this episode of Tales from the Mer World Radio. And remember, you still have an opportunity to call me. Ask me anything you like. Number 1-800-930-2819. And I'll see you back in just a few moments. Aloha. Welcome back to Tales from the Mer World Radio, where we explore the ancient lands of Atlantis and Lemuria. If you are just now tuning in, the show has been all about Ask Ameera. I've had a couple people call in with some really great questions about Lemarian Crystals, about Archangel Metatron. So if you're just joining in, the YouTube version of this broadcast will be up later today or tomorrow on my YouTube channel, Ameera, Beth, Mer Healer. You're all invited to subscribe. This is my 7th episode out of 14 that I've scheduled for. Really exciting to be here and have the honor and privilege to bring you what is in my heart space, which is talking about the great kingdom of Atlantis and the Mer People, and helping us all prepare for a time we are shifting into, a very auspicious time where a new earth is being birthed. New earth being birthed with kind of the idea or the perception that many things are breaking down around us, which is quite true. And as these old structures and these old paradigms and these old beliefs start to crumble and disintegrate, can be kind of struggling to embrace what's coming in new, but we haven't quite yet seen materialize in the physical world. So, this show is really all about helping us all understand where we came from, our soul history, the earth history, some of the things that aren't written about in your theology books or written about in your history books, and preparing us all for our soul, for really embracing the embodiment of our soul and the embodiment of our sovereignty and co-creating a new earth together. And a little precursor into what's coming up on the next show, the next Tales from the Mer World, which is going to happen the second Thursday of June. And I have my very dear friend Heidi Little speak. And we are going to talk about the New Earth children. We're going to talk about her work with New Earth children and her passion, her purpose to help all children of this world come into the fullness and the realization of their purpose on this planet, and help all children coming into this planet feel warmed, feel welcomed, feel safe, and know that it's really the children right now, you guys, who are creating the foundation, the vibrational and the frequency platform that is allowing for us to transition into the golden era. It's really about these children who have come forward onto a planet that is often not very friendly and safe for kids. It's about their bravery to come forward and bring with them their wisdom and their knowledge, and the New Earth children coming forward right now. The children being born and the young ones that are here, they're so exceptional and they're so amazing. And they are really here to be our teachers and our guides and help us tap into our own inner guru and allow us to do all these things that we came to participate in. So I hope you will join me. I don't know the date off the top of my head for the second Thursday, but there'll be announcements. And join Heidi Little as we go into her work in and globally helping this to happen for our planet. If you are curious about me, curious where to find a little bit more about my work, you can find me at ameerabeth.com. You can also visit my YouTube channel, which is Ameera Beth Mer Healer. And also wisdomware.org is where I have my crystal infused sacred geometry clothing company, and where I infuse Andara crystals into dust and integrate them into sacred geometry patterns on beautiful organic clothing. I am also offering a sale on my sessions right now. $88 for a past life regression or a 13 chakra or a healing. So if you'd like to take advantage of that in the month of May, that is open for you as well. Beyond that, I'm super grateful for all of you who have listened in. If you'd like to share up this broadcast with your communities or the YouTube video when it comes out later, I'm always very, very appreciated. Sending you lots of love and lots of aloha from the beautiful island of Kauai. And as always, thank you for allowing me to express myself. Aloha.